I did some poking around on recommender systems and the machine learning strategies that are used to solve these issues. And they are broken up into two categories: content filtering and matrix factorization. And the way that I kind of see it is content filtering is the way that you would put it together if you were locked in a room, and then matrix factorization is if you majored in math and then you're tasked with solving this issue. Then you say, hey, this is an abstract way in order to solve it. And let's go over each of these. First, let's look at content filtering, and let's take a look at this matrix here. Let's say that this is a venture category of movies. We have these 5 movies and we have these 5 users. The check marks means that they have watched the movie, right? And so here we don't have a rating system with numbers like 1 to 5, but I just remove that just because it adds another level of complexity, right? But even if they were numbers, it would follow the same general strategy. So let's say we have these 4 users here, and they've watched these movies, and by watch that means that they enjoyed them or that they liked them. And then we have a new user, right? And now we're trying to figure out, what should we advertise to this new user, because we only have space for, let's say, 2 movies to be advertised to this guy. So I guess the naive algorithm would be which movies have been watched the most, right? And those are the ones that we would advertise to this guy because we have no previous knowledge about his habits and what he likes and what he's watched. So we could see here that movie 1 and movie 2 have been watched the most out of all the users. So we would advertise that to user number 4, right? And so let's say like he's been playing. He's been using his Netflix account, and he watched movie number 0 and movie number 4. Right. Well, now the algorithm becomes a little bit different because we have some information about this user. We can now build a profile about this user here, and the profile is going to state that he likes movie number 1, he likes movie number 4. So we're not going to get just the movies that have been watched the most. We're going to get the ones that have been watched the most between users that have watched movie number 4 and watched movie number 0. Right. And so if we look at these, we could see that these 3 here and these 3 here have been watched the most between those users. And now that we have that, we can do a frequency analysis, and we could say movie number 1 and movie number 2 are what we are going to advertise to user number 4. Right? And the more information that we have about user number 4, the more specifically we can create a profile about him, and the more accurately we can advertise movies according to his liking based on his personality profile, right, or his viewer profile. So that's content filtering. Things get super, super complex with content filtering, with duration of the time that they have spent watching a film. It goes with the mouse movements are also incorporated into the algorithm. The amount of time the mouse has been hovering over a certain movie. So content filtering gets deep. It gets really deep, right? This is like the most simple explanation of content filtering, right? And this is the way that you would approach it if you were, just like tasked with this at this current moment, right? This is like common sense. This makes sense, okay? And then the next strategy is matrix factorization, and so that was talked about in the last video that I sent you guys, and I think it was talked about over here. Yeah. So what are we given? We're given a matrix of users. We factorize them. We de-dimensionalize them or reduce them into 2 different matrices whose dot product will result in the original matrix. And the question here is, how do you get these 2 derived matrices, right? And so that's a big question mark. And after poking around some, there are 2 strategies that people have used. 2 strategies that people have used. One is the stochastic gradient descent. So that's one area you might want to look into. And then the other is alternating least squares. Okay. And so this is via a paper that was written by a team that that won the Netflix challenge back in 2009, and this is old, but still it's a great place to start, right? And yeah, that's actually what they used in order to get the winning model, right? Is a combination of these two here. And so, you can go ahead and read about that in this paper. It's very easy to read, and I'll go ahead and forward you the link. Another piece of information that I used was right here. This guy, right? He really breaks it down very simply and clearly. I think there's 3 or 4 lectures. There's like lecture 40, 41, 42, 43, and so you can go ahead and click on the user and then search through his lectures in order to get an understanding of recommender systems using a content filtering. He goes through content filtering, and then this article here goes over matrix reduction or matrix factorization. And I think that's about it. So hopefully that was a nice little head start, and off you go.